I'm curious, from those who are at the top of their game to those who are struggling day by day, what is the number one limiting belief that most people have that keeps them from accomplishing what they want?
Well, it's different depending upon what level of life you get to, but people usually bump up against I'm not enough. The whole idea that today they talk about it in a trite way. It's like, I remember talking to Tony Hopkins, the actor, he's a good friend of mine, and I was surprised because this guy is so obsessed that he not only knows his own lines. I've made a few movies, and I was shocked that people didn't know their lines, but you shoot things 10,000 times.
A lot.
So he knows his own lines and every other person's lines. And so he's that committed and he's that great an actor. And he says to me, Tony, I feel like, I'm a facade, I'm a phony, and I'm going to get found out. And so I think not everybody has that exact belief, but the idea that maybe I'm not enough for this level that I'm going to, or the level I want to go to in my life, whether they might be great in business, but they're not doing great in their relationship, or they're great in their relationship, but they're not good with their kids, or they're good with the kids, but their body's not where they want to be. They got all the money, but not the body, right? And so I think most people bump up against that fear that something in me is not enough. And the deeper fear is that if I'm not enough, I won't be loved. And so it's an unconscious fear. So most people push it aside by focusing on what they're good at and not taking care of those other things till they bite them, the relationship, the body, whatever it is, the kids. Or they come up with a story about, well, I don't need to be good at that, or that's just not my nature. And so I'm often called in to help somebody, sharpen their skills. But you're right, usually there is a limiting belief of some sort. So I couldn't say there's one, but if I was saying the most dominant one, it's like, I've never done this before, so how the hell am I going to do it, right? There's uncertainty. If you look at a great athlete, what makes a great athlete? There's that sense of not only you practice and you got it in your nervous system, you're incredible in your strategy in the sport, but there's the state you bring to the table. So I'm sure you've seen an athlete, a basketball player in the NBA about to shoot a free throw, a kicker in the NFL, and they go jogging out there and you look at them and you go, they're going to miss it. And sure enough, they do. Everyone's had that experience. How did they know? They saw the lack of certainty in their body, right? And so when you try to get yourself to do something you've never done before, it produces that kind of uncertainty. So I always tell people, if you want a breakthrough, I think of it as three things at the most simple level to create a breakthrough. A breakthrough being maybe there's an area that you've not gotten to where you want to be and you've promised yourself you're going to do it and then you don't follow through, or you fall back and you're frustrated with yourself. Most people have had something like that, but one day they did break through. They did finally say enough of this. And that day, that moment, they changed their relationship. They quit what they're doing. They started something new. And what I found is there's three parts to that breakthrough. And if you want to break through in any area, these are the things you got to do. But I want to give you in reverse order real fast. Okay. So reverse order is most people, they want to make something happen. They focus on the strategy. Now, I'm a strategist. I get paid to be able to show someone how to save a decade, because the right strategy in business can save you 10 years, right? Can accelerate your earnings, can decrease your costs. There's so many tools. The right strategy in a relationship is priceless. It'll turn it around. But as much as I love strategy, it's not what I start with people. The reason is because the natural question is, I want to achieve this, but how do I do it? There's nothing wrong with answering the question how. It's just the sequence of these that are critical. It's like if I told you this is someone's phone number and you have the right numbers and you dial the wrong order, you're not going to reach them.
Right.
If you knew the vault numbers, but you put in the wrong order, the vault doesn't open. When it comes to a breakthrough, most people are focused on the strategy, the how-to, and the problem is when you go to how to do something you've never done before, it brings uncertainty.
Yes.
And uncertainty creates hesitancy, and hesitancy kills momentum. Hesitancy kills performance. Hesitancy kills, most things that really matter in your life. So what I tell people is, if you took it something like losing weight and you said, most of America is overweight. Why is that? Is it because the strategy for being fit and strong is so complex? No. Is it only for the 1%? No. Is it super expensive? No. You have to basically ignore everything that's around you, right? So it's not a strategy problem. People think it's a strategy problem. It's not. The real problem is they have a story. So think of these three S's. The story is locking them in place. The story is what you said, a belief. But when you stack a set of beliefs together, you build a story. And you tell it to yourself over and over again until you believe it. So the story is, I've tried everything.
Yes.
And I'll say to them, really, everything? How many things you tried? I've tried thousands of things. Then I go, okay, name them. And they'll go,
I've tried two things.
Yeah, exactly. These two things that don't work, I did over and over again, right? But as long as you believe that, a belief is the feeling of certainty about what can be done or can't be done, right? Who you are, who you're not. So when you go first for how, you have uncertainty. I call it the tyranny of how. You don't want to get to the how first. You got to deal with the story before that, right? So the story might be all the good ones are gone, right? Or they're all gay and I'm not, or I'm gay and they're not. Some story that makes it impossible to succeed. If you change the story, you can get a strategy that works. But the order people work on is strategy. Rarely pay attention to story, but the one before that is where we need to start. It's your state. It's your mental, emotional state. And as an athlete, you know this, right?
Yes.
So that state of certainty, that state of passion, that state of conviction, that state of absolute determination, right? That state that every great athlete has, that state, any great leader has, any great business person has, if you have that state, it will change your story. And it'll change what you're able to do strategy-wise. So like, for example, have you ever gotten pissed off at somebody and then remembered everything you've ever been pissed at them about? It's like you get in that mode, you remember everything, right?
Yeah.
Or when somebody's in love, what's wrong with life when they're in love?
Nothing.
It's
amazing.
So your story changes with your state, right? Your story about your life. It could be one day it's horrible, the next day, life's a gift. So the most important thing to do is change your state first. That's why most people fail to achieve what they want. They have not become masters of their own mental, emotional state. And in our events, that's my number one piece, because without that, you won't get lasting change. You'll get temporary change.
Yes.
Once I get enough state, I can change the story. That's easy. Once I change the story, if I don't give you the strategy, you'll find a strategy.
Yes.
You'll make it happen. You'll find the way, you'll make the way. You've lived this as an athlete and as a businessman. So I look at this and say, the problem is most people do it in reverse order. When they go in reverse order, they stop the process. They don't know how. They freak out about the uncertainty. Their story doesn't support them, and now they're in a lousy state. And so they try something for a little while and never follow through.
Yes.
So that's the breakthrough I do it. So it is a belief system, but I want you to see it's a little more complex than that. It's the state. Because in you, were you taught, look before you leap?
Yes.
Were you taught, he who hesitates is lost?
Yes.
So which one do you pick?
Yeah, right, exactly.
The answer is, what am I supposed to do? Your state will determine it. So if you're fearful, he who hesitates is lost.
Yes.
You're gonna justify. If you're more aggressive and there's something you really want, you're gonna, it's like, I gotta make this thing happen, right? It's a different piece. So you pick your beliefs based on your state unconsciously. So state is the controlling factor in everything, in a relationship. Congratulations. You've got your two daughters and your wife. We talked for many years about relationship together.
I struggled for many years.
But you did it right.
I needed to learn a new story. I needed to learn a new story, and I needed to kind of heal that story.
That's right.
And create a different one for myself so that I could attract the wife that I have now.
That's right.
That amazing relationship.
But even before you got the story, you had to get the state.
Yes.
When the state was there, it became easier to get the story.
I was living in fear a lot in intimacy.
I know.
I was either living in the thrill of excitement.
Yes.
Without really going deeper and making sure the values align.
That's right.
And then later you learn about the values and you're like, oh, but now I'm stuck in this and I can't get out. And I'm afraid to be alone now. So I was living in fear or excitement, but it wasn't like grounded certainty.
That's
and I think when you get in a relationship,
you just said it.
When you start dating someone, you're never certain it's going to work out. But it was more of like, finally was like, I'm certain I'm going to be okay no matter what happens. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm certain.
Yes.
If we don't align, then I want the best for her and I want the best for me.
Yeah.
And I was certain that I was okay.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yes.
And before I never had that certainty because the story didn't match that.
And think about it. Fear almost always makes you make the wrong choice.
Oh, every time.
Right?
Every time.
Right?
Every time.
And so there was so much fear and uncertainty in that. And so, by the way, your next one is going to probably be about your two daughters.
Yeah. Well, it's like
this first-time parent, right?
Oh man, yeah.
And you got two of them simultaneously.
Yeah, at the same time.
And so that'll bring up those pieces. And those pieces, by the way, can filter into the rest of your other areas of your life without you noticing it, being aware of it when I say noticing it. So you got to be cautious about that, meaning not cautious, just do the same thing you do with anything else. You want to jump into parenting and learn everything you can about it. So when things happen, you know the pattern in advance.
Yeah.
You have a great state, you have a great story, and you have a great strategy, but you've done some study, certain things, they're predictable. Right? When you have your first child, for example, most people at first child, the child gets really sick and they freak out, they run to the doctor. If they have 4 kids, by the time they get the 4th kid,
they don't care about the last
you
one.
get an earache, you care just as much, but you go, it's part of this stage. It's a problem, but you don't freak out about the problem.
Yeah.
Same thing in a business. In a business, when you understand the patterns, in the beginning of a business, it's going to be a cash flow challenge, right? They're going to cash flow challenge when it's mature. That's a real problem.
Yeah.
But each stage has predictable challenges and opportunities. And the more you can know the pattern in advance, the more you can anticipate. Anticipation is power. Reaction puts you in fear.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more inspiring clips like this, make sure to click right here to subscribe and click right here to watch that next video that is specific to support you in your life.